morning, Bridge students. My name is Laura Barrett. I will be your teacher this year for the Bridge class. I wanted to start out this school year by talking about what Bridge means. So for the purposes of our program, Bridge means college and career readiness. And we get our college and career readiness standards from the state. So what does college and career readiness mean? To be college and career ready, students must gain the knowledge, skills, and dispositions, in other words, traits, necessary to succeed in college and career settings without the need for remediation. And that means without the need for easier materials. In other words, books that have been made easier so that you can read them. So here's a picture of a student who is getting help from a tutor to do some schoolwork. And then here is a picture of a student who is able to do the schoolwork independently without extra help. So that's what the purpose of this Bridge class is. It's to make you ready for college without the need for abridged materials or extra help from an outside tutor. What should adult ed students be reading for college and career readiness? So we get these categories from the state standards that I mentioned before, which I will talk about in more detail in the next few slides. So first, adult ed students should be reading informational texts. Texts like news articles, educational articles, legal documents, and technical manuals. As you can see, there's a picture of a newspaper here. The other kind of reading that adult ed students should be reading is literature, made-up stories like fictional novels and short stories. And in this class, we'll be reading classic short stories by famous classic authors. They should also be reading scientific and technical texts, science documents like research studies and papers, data reports, scientific journals, and technical manuals. And I think we'll mostly be reading these kinds of documents to support arguments in essays or paragraphs. So we're going to be doing some research, and oftentimes research on the internet ends up with scientific articles that support particular arguments. Next, historical and social studies text. So these are things that you might come across in your college courses. For example, history, psychology, sociology, philosophy, and geography. And again, we'll probably come across these types of texts in our research when we're looking for documents to support our arguments. Okay, let's move to the next slide. So, what should adult ed students be writing for career and college readiness? Well, there are three categories. One, stories or essays. So we can write narrative stories that are true, that might be about something that happened to us in our lives or something that happened to someone else. We can write stories that are fictional, meaning a made-up story with a beginning and a middle and an end. Or essays. Essays are what I've been discussing. They are writings in which we make a point or an argument or present information. Next, students should practice writing science and social sciences writing. So you can see in the picture here, this document is very specific for mathematics. It looks like geometry, to be exact. So there's certain kinds of writing that goes along with the sciences that we should practice. And last, professional writing for business, like writing letters or memos or emails or cover letters, resumes, and job reports. Okay, so we're going to do an activity now. I want you to click on the documents that I have posted for you. It's this exact slide presentation, but I've made a copy for each of you so that you can each type into it. So it says Activity 1, describe some types of writing you've had to use at or for work or when interacting with a business or a school. So here are some possible types of writing. They might be an email or an accident report that you had to fill out on the job. Maybe somebody got hurt and you had to fill out a report of that injury. Damaged goods report. Maybe you work at a store and a customer has returned an item and you have to fill out a form describing the damage to the product that has been returned. A telephone message. Oftentimes when working as a receptionist or some kind of intake employee at a business, you oftentimes have to answer the phone and take messages. So you might have to fill out a form and write down what a customer's message is for someone at the workplace. Next, the resume writing is an important type of writing that often happens for work. A job application. It's like a resume, except it's just a form that you have to fill out that an employer will give you when they are considering you for a job, or a letter. So for those of you who have not worked or don't work currently, maybe you've written letters to businesses or to your children's schools. So you've written something that has been a little bit more formal than just a letter to a friend. Okay, so here's an example response to this question. Describe some type of writing you've had to use at or for work or when interacting with a business or school. So here's an example response. When I worked as a receptionist at a law firm, I had to answer the phone and write phone messages on a message pad, create labels for files, and type letters and legal documents by listening to dictated recordings made by the lawyers. So I think each of you will have different experiences with writing, and some of you will have done this kind of writing in your native countries before you came to the US. So that counts. It doesn't just have to be writing in English. Or others of you have maybe had to write an email to your child's teacher or write a letter to a business requesting a refund for a damaged item, something like that. So please click over to your document, click in the box where it says your response, and describe the type of writing that you've had to do, either on your job or with a business or professional. Thank you for watching, and the next video will start up right after activity 1.